Good evening. Robert Siegel's voice has been such a familiar presence in our lives for so many years, it's hard to remember when it wasn't there. A calm, informative, witty companion on our evening commute or while we're fixing our dinner. How long has Robert Siegel been hosting All Things Considered? Well, when he started as co-host, Ronald Reagan was president. Margaret Thatcher was on Downing Street. Pope John Paul II was at the Vatican. And Michael Jackson topped the charts with an album called Bad. All of them are gone today, but Robert Siegel is still going strong. His nearly 27-year run as senior host of a highly rated news program is longer than that of any broadcast journalist in history on radio or TV. Let's test that hypothesis. Okay, before we test that hypothesis, I know that Rush Limbaugh has hosted his radio program starting locally and then nationally for a little bit longer, but I said journalist. Among the great TV anchors, none hosted a nightly news show for as long as Siegel's 26-plus years. Not Walter Cronkite at 19 years, or his successor, Dan Rather, 24 years, Chet Huntley and David Brinkley, 14 years, Tom Brokaw, 22 years. And these fine journalists were anchoring programs of roughly 30 minutes duration, not 2 hours. At NPR, only Bob Edwards' 24 years of hosting Morning Edition came close to Robert Siegel's long run on All Things Considered. As we fans of NPR know very well, All Things Considered is great ensemble performing. It's team journalism with superb correspondents, writers, editors, and co-hosts all working together effectively. Robert Siegel, who succeeded the great Susan Stamberg, has worked with wonderful co-hosts over his long career, including Noah Adams, Linda Wertheimer, Michelle Norris, Renee Montagne, and his current co-hosts, Audie Cornish and Melissa Block. Now, I don't want to go overboard on this longevity thing. This is not the Methuselah Award we're giving tonight. And the bio shows that Robert is only slightly older than I am. You don't last this long in a highly competitive field without being very good. And that's the point of my longevity analysis. And Robert Siegel is much more than very good. He has done it all. Editor, news director, foreign correspondent, creator of award-winning special reports on NPR. And he has done it all with extraordinary excellence. If I had to pick one aspect of his work that, for me, stands out most brightly, it would be his interviewing. Robert Siegel is a master interviewer, and we could all learn from a careful listening to his technique. He asks the right questions, the tough questions, not shying away, but he asks them with both courtesy and persistence. Civil discourse is all too rare in today's politics and today's journalism. Robert Siegel is a committed practitioner of civil discourse. He has a tongue that is both civil and silver. He is richly deserving of this year's W.M. Kiplinger Award for Distinguished Contributions in Journalism. Please welcome Robert Siegel.
Night, thank you very much. I'm feeling older as the night goes on. For those of you who listen to NPR and whom I haven't met, let me say that it's a delight to actually see you this evening. And as I always discover on these occasions, you don't look anything like what I thought you would look like. I thought you'd all be a lot taller and have more hair than you do. I'm very grateful to the National Press Foundation and extremely honored and flattered to be given an award whose recipients include some truly great journalists, Cy Hirsch, Ben Bradley, Ann Landers, Bill Sapphire, people who were part of my life and part of my becoming a journalist. But as has been said, while there may be a few journalists so amazingly gifted and energetic that they can work and excel on their own, the rest of us mortals really depend on an institution that honors, encourages, and requires excellence in journalism. And I'll just tell you briefly about how I accidentally stumbled into one nearly 40 years ago. When the radio station I'd worked at in New York City was sold, I was reduced to the most unthinkable thing that a native lifelong New Yorker could do, which was leave town. And my wife Jane and I, she stood by the whole thing, came down here to work at National Public Radio. I confident within a couple of years I'd be able to get back to a real city with a job at a network that my parents had actually heard of, perhaps. And what I discovered instead was a place full of the most interesting, idealistic, creative people I'd ever worked with, who were determined to make the kind of journalism that they really believed in happen every day, and honor a medium that absurdly had been almost given up for dead by the big commercial broadcasters in their zeal to do television. And I found at NPR a home that was challenging, interesting, and provided one opportunity after another. The first couple of years, they were always expanding and creating a new job. One day I came home to Jane and I said, you know, I think we have to accept it. This is my job. This is where I'm staying for a while. For the next few years, we'll have to be prepared. And the next day, I came home and said, they're suggesting that I move to London. After 4 years there, and then serving a 4-year sentence in management at NPR. I was granted this amazing job that I've been doing for, I really thought it was only 26 years until this evening. Over the years, I've watched East Germans go through the destroyed Berlin Wall and walk as a family through West Berlin for the first time. I was in Jerusalem and in Jericho on the day when Rabin and Arafat exchanged that awkward handshake on the White House lawn, and for sure peace had come to the Middle East. I tried to get a word in edgewise with Mel Brooks, who wouldn't hear a word of it. I've just had a great time, and I've been blessed with amazing colleagues who make NPR happen every day on your radio. Some of them are here. Julia Buckley and Art Silverman, two great producers whom I've had the great honor and pleasure of working with over the years. Christopher Turpin, our executive producer, and certainly one of the best producers I ever worked with, Margaret Lowe Smith, who rightly has moved on to be now our vice president in charge of news. They and all the folks at NPR News are being honored through me with this award. And to them and to the Press Foundation and tonight for those very gracious words, I'd just like to say thank you very much.